Imagine winning millions in the lottery, but still burning it all faster than people who are on a monthly paycheck. This is exactly what happened to a man who won $30 million in the lottery but trusted the wrong person with his prize and ended up losing it all in tragic circumstances. But this isn't just one single story. Let's take a look at 10 black lottery winners who spent their fortune in record time. And trust me, the number one story on this list will absolutely blow your mind. Number 10. Jonathan Vargas. Let's kick it off with Jonathan Vargas, who was only 19 years old when he won $35.3 million in Powerball in 2008, his first lottery ticket ever. He claimed he heard voices telling him which numbers to pick, and those numbers hit perfectly. Suddenly, a teenager from Gaston, South Carolina, was controlling generational wealth with zero financial experience or maturity to handle it. At first, Vargas seemed responsible. He said all the right things about investing wisely, setting up trust funds for siblings, donating to church, buying his mom a house. But what actually happened tells a different story about what happens when a 19-year-old gets millions without guidance. Vargas and some partners created an all-female wrestling promotion company called Lust Delicious, which sounds exactly like the kind of business idea a teenage millionaire would bankroll. The venture fizzled out within a year, burning through who knows how much money with nothing to show for it. He continued squandering cash on countless other schemes and bad investments that never panned out. Every failed business idea eating away at his fortune. Massive amounts disappeared on designer clothes and jewelry, the kind of flex spending that feels good in the moment but builds zero lasting value. Reports suggest Vargas was buying high-end everything, living like money would never run out, making it rain at clubs, and generally living the lifestyle young rappers fantasize about. By his mid-20s, Vargas had blown through most of his $35 million through a combination of failed business ventures, terrible investments, and pure lifestyle spending. The wrestling company alone was embarrassingly bad. It lasted maybe a year before collapsing completely. His story proves that hearing voices that tell you winning numbers doesn't mean those same voices will tell you how to keep the money. Within just a few years, Vargas went from $35 million rich to essentially broke, learning the expensive lesson that youth plus millions minus guidance equals financial disaster almost every time. Vargas burned $35 million on failed wrestling ventures and designer clothes. That's shocking until you hear how our next lottery winner lost his money to drug addiction. Number 9. Willie Hurt. Willie Hurt won $3.1 million in the Michigan lottery in 1989. And what happened next is one of the fastest, most devastating collapses in lottery winner history. Within just 2 years, 24 months, Hurt went from millionaire to broke, divorced, and facing murder charges. This is what happens when addiction meets sudden wealth. Before winning, Hurt was living a relatively stable life in Lansing, Michigan. The lottery money should have set him and his family up comfortably forever, if managed even halfway responsibly. Instead, Hurt developed a severe crack cocaine addiction almost immediately after winning, and the entire fortune disappeared into feeding that addiction at a pace that's hard to comprehend. $3.1 million gone in under 2 years. That's burning through roughly $130,000 per month, $4,300 per day, on crack cocaine and the lifestyle that comes with serious drug addiction. Hurt wasn't just using. He was funding an entire drug-fueled existence that consumed money faster than most people earn it. The addiction destroyed everything simultaneously. His marriage collapsed as his wife watched him spiral completely out of control. His judgment disappeared entirely as the drugs took over every decision he made. His money evaporated as dealers and hangers-on bled him dry, knowing he was too far gone to care about tomorrow. By 1991, just 2 years after his win, Willie Hurt was completely broke with nothing to show for his millions except destroyed relationships and criminal charges. He was arrested and charged with attempting to murder a drug dealer, facing serious prison time for crimes committed while chasing his next high. Hurt's story is the darkest, fastest implosion on this list that wasn't murder. He took $3.1 million and turned it into absolute destruction in 24 months through crack addiction, proving that substance abuse can burn through any fortune at speeds that seem mathematically impossible. From lottery winner to broke, divorced, and facing murder charges in 2 years flat, That's not just losing money quickly, that's complete life destruction in record time. Willie's money disappeared quickly through drug addiction and a bad lifestyle. Next up, we have a woman who won enough money to set her life up, but ultimately lost the plot in a crazy turn of events. Number 8. Sharon Tirabasi. Sharon Tirabasi was a single mother from Hamilton, Ontario, working for a charity and struggling to raise her kids on welfare when she won $10.5 million in the Lotto Super 7 jackpot in 2004. She was in her mid-30s, had never seen serious money in her life, and suddenly had enough wealth to never work again if she managed it, even halfway decently. Instead, she burned through the entire fortune in less than a decade through what might be the most aggressive spending spree in lottery history. Here's how 10.5 million Canadian dollars disappeared in under 9 years. Tirabasi didn't just spend recklessly. She spent like someone who genuinely believed the money pit was bottomless and would never run dry. She bought a big house in Hamilton, which is reasonable enough. Then she bought multiple cars. Not just one nice vehicle, but several luxury cars for herself and family members. Cadillac Escalades, BMWs, expensive SUVs that depreciated thousands the moment she drove them off the lot. But the real money evaporated through pure generosity without boundaries and lifestyle inflation that spiraled completely out of control. Tirabasi gave money to everyone. Family members who needed help, friends who had emergencies, acquaintances who pitched sob stories, people she barely knew who heard she was generous. She couldn't say no to anyone, and word spread fast that Sharon was an easy touch who'd write checks to whoever asked. She funded lavish vacations for herself and extended family, flying everyone to exotic destinations, paying for everything, treating dozens of people to trips they could never afford themselves. Designer clothes shopping sprees became regular occurrences, buying high-end everything without checking price tags. Expensive gifts for friends and family became expected rather than appreciated. Loans that were never repaid to people who had no intention of paying her back. The spending wasn't just generous, it was compulsive and constant. Tirabasi also reportedly spent heavily on partying and nightlife, living like a celebrity in Hamilton's social scene. Bottle service at clubs, expensive dinners for large groups, always picking up the tab for everyone. The kind of lifestyle that feels amazing when you're living it, but burns through millions faster than you can track. She made terrible financial decisions beyond just spending. No serious investments, no financial advisors she actually listened to, no structure or budget limiting her access to the money. Just a checking account that kept getting smaller while she kept spending like nothing had changed. By 2013, less than 9 years after winning, Sharon Tirabasi was completely broke. The $10.5 million was entirely gone. She was riding public buses to a part-time job, living in a rented house, struggling again to support her kids just like before she'd won. The mansion was gone, the cars were gone, the money was gone, and most of the people she'd helped financially were nowhere to be found when she needed help herself. Tirabasi later told reporters that she had no regrets, claiming she'd helped a lot of people and had great experiences with the money. But she also admitted she should have been smarter, should have saved more, should have thought long-term instead of assuming the money would last forever. Her story became a Canadian cautionary tale about what happens when lottery winners spend and give without limits, boundaries, or any financial planning whatsoever. Sharon Tirabasi went from $10.5 million to broke in under a decade through a combination of generous giving, lavish lifestyle spending, supporting everyone around her, and genuinely believing that much money couldn't possibly run out. She proved that you absolutely can blow through millions in less than 10 years when you're spending 6 figures annually on lifestyle, giving away hundreds of thousands to family and friends, and making zero investments that generate returns. Her fortune disappeared so fast, she barely had time to realize it was happening before she was back riding buses to work. Tirabasi burned $10.5 million in under 9 years through generous giving and lifestyle inflation. Gone before she knew it. But what about a man who was all set to receive $239,000 every year for the next 20 years, yet still managed to blow it all? Number 7. Curtis Sharp. Curtis Sharp won $5 million in the New York lottery back in 1982, which doesn't sound massive by today's standards until you remember that's roughly $15 million in current money. Sharp chose the annuity option, getting approximately $239,000 annually for 20 years, which should have been foolproof. You literally can't blow through all the money at once because they only give you portions yearly. Except Sharp found a way. Here's how you waste a guaranteed $239,000 annual income. Gambling addiction, expensive cars, heavy drinking, and drugs. Sharp developed serious gambling problems almost immediately after winning, spending huge portions of his annual payments at casinos and racetracks trying to turn his lottery winnings into even bigger winnings. Spoiler alert, the house always wins, and Sharp kept losing. He also burned money on luxury cars he didn't need, buying new vehicles constantly, trading them in at massive losses, buying more. Each car depreciated thousands the moment he drove off the lot. But Sharp kept upgrading anyway because having money meant showing everyone he had money. The alcohol and drugs created their own financial black hole. Supporting serious substance abuse habits while maintaining a party lifestyle costs shocking amounts when you're doing it daily. Sharp was living like money would keep coming forever, which technically it would for 20 years, except he was spending faster than $239,000 annually could sustain. Despite having a guaranteed pension payment structure designed specifically to prevent lottery winners from going broke, Sharp managed to waste it all anyway. He borrowed against future payments, got terrible deals from predatory lenders who knew he had guaranteed income, and essentially spent tomorrow's money today at horrible interest rates. By the time his annuity ended, Sharp had nothing to show for his $5 million except destroyed health, broken relationships, and the expensive lesson that even structured payments can't save you from addiction and compulsive spending. He proved that it's not about how much you win or how it's structured. If you're determined to waste it through gambling, substances, and lifestyle inflation, you'll find a way regardless of the safeguards in place. Number 6. Marva Wilson. Marva Wilson won $2 million in Missouri lottery in 2008 and thought she was doing everything right by hiring a financial advisor to help manage her windfall responsibly. She had plans to set up college funds for her grandchildren, invest wisely, and make the money last. Instead, she got scammed out of over $400,000 by the very person she trusted to protect her wealth, proving that sometimes your money disappears not through your own bad decisions but through someone else's criminality. Wilson's financial advisor, someone she believed was helping her, was actually running a tax fraud scheme using her lottery winnings. The advisor convinced Wilson to make certain financial moves that supposedly would save her money on taxes or generate better returns, but was actually funneling hundreds of thousands into fraudulent schemes that benefited the advisor while destroying Wilson's wealth. By the time Wilson realized what was happening, over $400,000 was already gone. That's 20% of her entire after-tax winnings just evaporated through fraud. The money she'd specifically earmarked for her grandchildren's college education, gone. The funds she'd carefully planned to invest for long-term security, stolen by someone she paid to help her. Wilson went public with her story specifically to warn other lottery winners to be extremely careful about who they trust with their money. She told reporters through Fox 4 Kansas City that future jackpot winners need to thoroughly vet anyone they hire, get multiple opinions, and never blindly trust even professional advisors without verification. The worst part? Wilson couldn't recover most of the stolen funds. The advisor faced criminal charges for tax fraud, but that doesn't bring back the $400,000 already spent or hidden. Wilson's grandchildren lost their college funds, not because she spent recklessly or made bad choices, but because a trusted professional saw her lottery win as an opportunity to commit fraud. Wilson's story is different from most on this list. She didn't blow her money on cars, drugs, or parties. She tried doing everything right and still watched hundreds of thousands disappear because predatory people specifically target lottery winners, knowing they're vulnerable and trusting. Her fortune disappeared quickly not through her own mistakes, but through betrayal by someone she paid to protect her, proving that lottery winners face financial danger from all sides, including the professionals supposed to help them. Number 5. Brian Woods. Brian Woods won $49 million in the Texas lottery in 2003 and initially seemed like a model lottery winner doing everything right. He chose the annuity option, getting $2.5 million upfront and nearly $2 million annually for 24 years. sustainable income if managed properly. He invested in legitimate business ventures like buying and renovating the historic TP Motel, planned to fund college scholarships, and appeared to have solid long-term vision. But here's what nobody tells you about business investments. They fail more often than they succeed, and each failure costs hundreds of thousands or millions. The TP Motel restoration seemed brilliant initially. Spend $60,000 buying the historic property, invest $1.6 million in renovations, create a tourist attraction and profitable business. Except the renovation costs likely ballooned past $1.6 million like every construction project does. Then there's ongoing operational costs, staff salaries, utilities, insurance, property taxes, maintenance, marketing. A historic property isn't immediately profitable. It's a money pit that maybe breaks even eventually if you're lucky. Reports suggest the motel and other business ventures Woods invested in failed to generate the returns he expected. When a business fails after you've invested $2 million, that money doesn't come back. It's just gone. Multiply that across several failed ventures and you've burned through $5 to $10 million before realizing your investment strategy isn't working. Woods also committed to funding college scholarships, which sounds noble until you realize that's ongoing expense forever. Fund 5 students at $50,000 each? That's $250,000 annually minimum, and the number of applicants only grows each year. Say no, and you're the lottery winner who stopped caring about education. Say yes, and you've committed millions over decades. The rapid decline came when Woods realized his annual income couldn't sustain his business investments, scholarship commitments, family support, and lifestyle expenses simultaneously. Each failed business ate away at his principal. Each scholarship committed reduced available funds. Each family member helped create expectations for continued support. Within a decade of winning, Woods had burned through the bulk of his fortune not through partying or addiction, but through failed business ventures that seemed smart at the time, but destroyed his wealth just as effectively as any vice. He proved that you can lose millions trying to do the right thing if your investments fail and your commitments outpace your income. And that business failure can drain a lottery fortune just as fast as any addiction or scam. Next up, let's talk about someone who literally gave away a $112 million fortune until nothing was left. Number 4. Cynthia Stafford. Cynthia Stafford won $112 million in California Mega Millions in 2007 after years of visualizing that exact amount. And her story is proof that you can manifest millions but still lose them all if you don't know how to say no. Stafford took the lump sum of roughly $45 million after taxes, split portions with family, and then proceeded to give away her fortune so fast she ended up filing for bankruptcy despite winning 9 figures. Here's how $45 million disappears through pure generosity. Stafford was raising 5 kids when she won, so immediately she's buying a beautiful house, probably $2 to $3 million in a nice LA area. Furnishing it properly? Another $200,000 easy. Then she bought houses or helped with down payments for family members who'd struggled. 3 siblings get houses? That's $2 to $3 million gone instantly. She launched a film production company, which sounds entrepreneurial until you realize film is a money pit. Development deals, option payments, script fees, production costs. You can easily burn $5 to $10 million producing content that never gets distributed. Every meeting takes money. Every project needs funding. Every filmmaker has a pitch. Charitable donations became her identity. She gave to multiple causes aligned with her values, which sounds noble until you're writing $50,000 checks monthly to different organizations. 10 charities at $50,000 each. That's $500,000 annually just in donations. And once you start giving, requests multiply. Other charities hear you're generous and pitch their causes. Saying no makes you the rich person who doesn't care. Family beyond her immediate kids constantly needed help. Someone's medical bills, someone's car broke down, someone's starting a business, someone's in legal trouble. Each request is reasonable individually. $10,000 here, $25,000 there, but multiply by extended family, and it's hundreds of thousands annually just keeping everyone afloat. Friends who supported her before the win suddenly had emergencies only money could solve. Old acquaintances needed investment capital for guaranteed opportunities. Church needed building funds. Community centers needed renovations. Every ask came with emotional weight because these were people she cared about. Within 5 to 8 years, Stafford had given away enough money that she filed for bankruptcy, despite winning $112 million. Not because she bought yachts or lived lavishly, but because she said yes to everyone who needed help until nothing was left. Her story proves that generosity without boundaries is just financial suicide in slow motion, and that manifestation skills don't translate to money management skills. Stafford gave away $112 million through boundless generosity. Heartbreaking. But what about someone who spent $21 million in just a few years on the same person repeatedly? Number 3. Marie Holmes. Marie Holmes won $188 million in North Carolina Powerball in 2015, took home $88 million after taxes, and then proceeded to light approximately $21 million on fire, bailing out her boyfriend Lamar McDowell from jail 3 separate times in just a few years. This might be the most concentrated waste of lottery money in modern history. Here's how fast $21 million disappeared. McDowell was arrested on drug and weapons charges. Holmes posted bail, let's say $3 million. He violated release terms and got rearrested. Bail doubled to $6 million. Holmes paid again. He violated again. Bail doubled again to $12 million. Holmes paid a third time. That's $21 million in just bail money alone over maybe 3 years total. But wait, it gets worse. On top of that $21 million in bail, Holmes spent over $1.4 million in non-refundable bail bondsman fees. That's money just evaporated into the legal system with zero return. So really, she spent $22.4 million on her boyfriend's legal drama in under 3 years. And that's not counting the other spending. Holmes bought McDowell cars, probably a few $100,000. Designer clothes and jewelry to keep him looking good, easily another $200,000. Legal defense attorneys fighting his charges. Top criminal lawyers charge $500 to $1,000 per hour, and complex drug cases can cost $500,000 to $1 million in legal fees. So add another million to the McDowell tab. Meanwhile, Holmes also bought multiple houses for herself and family, probably $3 to $5 million total. Set up college funds for her 4 kids. Responsible, but that's another $2 to $3 million if done properly. Donated to church. Reports suggest significant donations, maybe $500,000 to $1 million total. Within just 3 years of winning, Holmes had spent approximately $30 million between bail money, legal fees, houses, cars, donations, and lifestyle expenses. That's $10 million per year burning rate, which means at that pace she'd be completely broke within 8 to 9 years total. Then the lawsuits started. Her pastor sued her demanding money. McDowell sued demanding more money, claiming she'd promised him support. Legal defense against these lawsuits cost more money. Each legal battle meant more attorney fees, more stress, more financial bleeding. Holmes's story is the fastest concentrated waste of lottery money that didn't involve drugs or gambling. She spent $21 million on bail alone in under 3 years for someone who kept getting rearrested, proving that love and loyalty can make you burn through a fortune faster than any addiction. Holmes burned $21 million in 3 years on bail money. Absolutely wild. But our final 2 stories are far darker, where we talk about black lottery winners who lost everything, including their lives. Number 2. Doris Murray. Now this is a story that might raise some eyebrows. Doris Murray won $5 million in South Carolina lottery in 2007 and chose annual payments of $172,000 over 20 years rather than a lump sum, which seemed like the smart conservative choice that would ensure long-term stability. She was a 42-year-old loving mother of 4, living responsibly, making wise decisions, only buying necessities, and even setting up trust funds for her grandchildren. But within just 1 year of claiming her winning ticket, Doris Murray was dead, murdered by her ex-boyfriend after an argument about their relationship. He was charged and convicted of her murder, ending her life just as it was supposed to get better financially. Murray's story shows that sometimes the danger of lottery money isn't how fast you spend it, It's how fast it makes you a target for violence from people closest to you. Her ex-boyfriend knew she had money coming annually for the next 19 years. When she tried to end the relationship, he apparently couldn't handle losing access to that future income stream. The annual payments continued after her death, going to the beneficiaries named in her will. But Murray herself never got to enjoy the financial security she'd won. She was murdered within a year for money she'd barely started receiving, proving that lottery winnings can get you killed faster than they can improve your life. Murray spent her money wisely and carefully, lived modestly, made good decisions, and it didn't matter because someone saw her as a walking bank account worth killing. Her fortune didn't disappear through bad decisions or generosity. It was stolen through murder by someone who wanted access to those annual payments. Murray was murdered within a year for her annual payments. Tragic. But our number one story is even worse. A winner who lost everything to someone he trusted, then paid with his life. Number 1. Abraham Shakespeare. Abraham Shakespeare won $30 million in Florida lottery in 2006, took the $17 million lump sum, and his story represents the absolute darkest, fastest, most complete destruction of lottery wealth in modern history. Within just 3 years, Shakespeare was broke, friendless, and then murdered. His body buried under a concrete slab in his supposed friend's backyard. Here's how $17 million disappeared in record time. Shakespeare was described as loving, generous, and trusting to a fault. The moment he won, people he barely knew became his best friends. Family members he hadn't heard from in years needed help with everything. Business partners pitched ideas he didn't understand. Everyone had problems only his money could solve. By 2008, just 2 years after winning, Shakespeare had already spent most of his fortune. He later told people he wished he'd never won, saying the money brought nothing but problems. People constantly asked for money and he struggled to say no. Every day meant new requests, new emergencies, new opportunities that required investment. He was spending hundreds of thousands monthly just keeping up with everyone's needs and expectations. That's when Doris Murray entered his life, promising to help manage what was left of his money and even write a book about his life. Shakespeare trusted her completely. Murray quickly took control of his finances, had him deposit $1.1 million into an account she controlled, and instead of helping, she helped herself to everything remaining. Murray systematically drained Shakespeare's accounts, took his assets, and when he realized what was happening and threatened to expose her, she murdered him. In 2009, Shakespeare disappeared. For months, his family had no idea where he was. Murray sent fake text messages pretending to be him, told elaborate lies about him going to Jamaica or Texas, blamed multiple people for his disappearance. The truth was she'd killed him and buried his body under a concrete slab in her backyard. When authorities finally found him and investigated, the evidence was overwhelming. In 2012, Murray was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. Even in court, she tried blaming 5 different people, including an undercover cop and her own son, but nobody believed her. Abraham Shakespeare went from $30 million to broke to dead in just 3 years total. His money disappeared faster than almost any lottery winner in history, not through partying or drugs or gambling, but through trusting the wrong person who saw him as nothing more than a bank account to drain and then dispose of. His story is the ultimate cautionary tale. Shakespeare spent his fortune too fast helping everyone who asked, trusted someone who promised to help but actually robbed him, and paid with his life when he tried to stop her. The money was gone in under 3 years, and his life was taken shortly after. That's not just blowing through a fortune, that's complete destruction in record time, ending in murder. And these were the 10 black lottery winners who watched their money disappear faster than they ever imagined possible. Which of these stories fascinated you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And for more such interesting peeks into the lives of rich black individuals, take a look at Black Status.